this day, I feel like I should go and call all of those students and give them a refund, because now that I've been in government, what I did not know at the time was pretty stunning. But it's great to have you all here. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to learn about this. It may seem a little strange to have a representative of the executive branch in the judicial branch house, but our system is set up, and the genius behind it is those separation of powers between the executive, the legislative, and judicial branch, and then between the federal government and the state government and the levels that are there. I have to tell you, when I ran for governor, I kind of theoretically understood one of my jobs would be appointing judges in Minnesota. What I didn't understand is that will probably be the most important thing I do as governor, is appointing judges. And the reason I say that is for many of us, the judicial system is, you sometimes see it on TV, it seems a little scary, or it's a place you don't want to end up. I was saying, this is the first time I've been in the federal courthouse. That's probably good for your governor to not be in the federal courthouse. But it's not just that. It is that, but it is so much more than that. And the genius of the system is, and one of the things I've got to see, even whether it is appointing district judges, administrative law judges, appeals court judges, Supreme Court justices, and then watching the federal government do the same thing with the federal bench. What I've got to understand clearly is the deep connections that the judiciary has with problem solving. Some of their jobs to interpret law of the legislature. The legislature writes the laws, the executive branch executes them, and the judicial branch keeps checks and balances on those. That is one of their jobs. They do criminal cases, they do civil cases. But it is so much more than that. I've watched the problem solving, and I would tell you, those of you who are interested, whether it's social justice issues, whether it's economic justice issues, where it's environmental issues, the judicial branch is at the center of that. And those who say, well, it's not the judicial branch's job to make law, they're to interpret and just go on that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the involvement that the judicial branch has in solving issues. For example, someone continues to come to court, and let's say it is driving while impaired, something. You could sentence those people, and there would be an accountability that comes with driving your vehicle while impaired. But the judicial branch, working with advocates, understood people with addiction issues, it's in our best interest that we fix the addiction issues for those folks so they don't end up back in the court or they don't end up back on the road. So it was the judicial branch that came up with specialty courts that said, let's not just put them in front of here, sentence them and go on. Let's figure out how we go back down the road and make sure they get the help, the treatment, the support that they need. They expanded that into veterans courts. Veterans coming back from war. You're fighting a war. You're driving vehicles and doing the things that you do in war, and then the next day you're back home and you find yourself driving 100 miles an hour or something like that, or you find yourself involved in violent situations. What we saw is the courts came up with the idea, let's figure out how to get these folks out of the judicial system and get them into the VA system. So as you're all here today and you're going to hear about all the complexity of this, what I will tell you this is, being a social studies teacher, being in Congress for 12 years, and now being governor for 5 years, I learn something new about this branch every single day. I see the incredible people who come to it. I see the folks who work in these. And I think for most Minnesotans and most Americans, the experience you're getting today is one that I wish all of them had. Because I think you'll view the courts differently. I think you'll see the interaction differently. And I think the one thing that I hear from all these judges when I appoint them is, they want people to feel when they walk through these doors and stand here, in many cases, on the worst day of their life, they're terrified. They want them to feel heard, seen, and valued, and be part of the system. And that for me is a very powerful thing, that justice needs to be administered, but justice stretches to a broad spectrum of what that means, both for the individual, victims if it's a victim case, or society in general. So I want to thank you all for being here. It's exciting you're here. I hope you get a lot out of today. And these two are humble, but a federal judge is a big deal. Like, when the federal judge tells me to be somewhere, here I am. And that's how this works, so just so you know. But thank you all. It's good to be with you today.